I'm Jordan, and this is another monthly roundup, right? So we got January 2024, first month of the year, and I'm not talking about a single game that was released this year. I'll talk about at least one next month. I'm not there quite yet. I've only played one game so far that came out this year. That's French Quarter, and I'll talk about that next time. I've played it a bunch, but I wanted to talk about these games because I'm kind of finishing up, wrapping up some other games that I just haven't been able to talk about yet. So we're going to talk about 4 different ones. January is great. Check out my TikTok. I've been posting a lot over there. I did a vlog of a new game night that's happening here in Pittsburgh at a brewery on the south side. So definitely look at my TikTok to see kind of a vlog from that. It was a good time. So otherwise, I think January was a pretty normal gaming month. I think it's pretty good. I got a new shelf. I don't know if I talked about this last time, so kind of framing this video a little differently. And it lets me get some games off the plastic shelves under my steps and a pile on a table over there that you guys can't see. But this is just a corner in my unfinished basement, and I just kind of make it look finished. But this is not a game room at all. This is literally just like a 10 by 5 corner in my in my basement. But it's all right. You guys don't need to know that. Let's talk about some games. Let's start out with an oldie, and by oldie I mean like a game that came out like 3 years ago, I think. And this is RiftForce. I recently started playing RiftForce again after, I don't know if I had played it for a year. It's been one of my favorite games for a while. I really enjoy the back and forth card play. It's a card battler. You're playing these numbered cards and trying to knock out your opponent's cards. It has some like weird elementals kind of vibe to it, fire versus water versus ice kind of thing. The reason I started playing it more is I saw it on my shelf and I remembered that I picked up the expansion for this like last year and I never played it. The expansion doubles the content in the base game. I think it had 8 new factions in it, and each of those factions comes with a special power, new artwork, that kind of thing. It has a couple new game modes. I still just play 2-player. It's fantastic as is. I don't need a solo mode. I don't need these other things. But this type of expansion is one of my favorite kinds of expansions, where the base game is so solid you don't have to add mechanics. All you're doing is just adding more content that just folds seamlessly into the game, doubles the amount of content in it, and it's just so good. So now instead of like 1 deck of these elemental cards, I got 2 of these decks of these cards, and it's great. I have been really enjoying playing this one again after just not playing it for a while. So that's your reminder. Pick out a game that you really love off your shelf, play it a couple times, and just kind of rediscover how much you love it. This is a really clever game. It's really elegant the way that you play the cards. You play 3 cards. They can be all the same number or the same color. They have to be next to each other, and then you can attack. It's just so smooth. It doesn't have a ton of flavor or like a ton of like edge cases or like number card. It's just excellent game. I love this one. RiftForce. One of my favorite publishers, and you guys know this, is AllPlay, or formerly BoardGameTables.com. I have my shelf over here that you can't see. Is just like all AllPlay games, and I really enjoy them. And every time they release a new bundle of games, because they usually release them in bundles, I usually take some time to look through all of them. The one earlier in last year was the one with Sail, Mindspace, Chomp, and what was Couture, and that Couture I think was my favorite. Maybe Sail was my favorite of those 4. Those were my favorite 2. They did another 4 games of little card games, and my favorite one thus far, and I haven't finished playing through all of them, but at the time of me recording this, my favorite one of the lot is Bacon. Bacon is a very entry-level ladder climbing game, card shedding game, where the aim of the game is to get rid of all your cards. And it has some elements of a popular game from a couple years ago, Scout, which is another ladder climbing or card shedding game. Haggis came out a long time ago from Indie Boards and Cards, and that has a similar. And that one actually was just Kickstarter with Portland Game Collective is doing that one again. But I really like that style of game. I think it feels like a classic card game kind of vibe. And so Bacon is like as pared down as you can in the mechanics. But the best wrinkle here in Bacon is the scoring when it comes to teams. And this one feels like it was made to be a teams game, where you're playing with 4 players or 6 players, and you're playing with 2 teams. And the player who goes out first, they run out of all their cards first, takes a scoring chip. That scoring chip is worth 0 points, but it allows your team to collectively score for the round. And I think that element is just so interesting. And then you're trying to go out next, and they're going to get a lot of points. And if the other team goes out next, they just kind of block you from getting additional points. It's a little complicated to explain to new players, but I think after a round, everybody goes around, they're like, oh, I get it now. Okay, let's do this again. My biggest complaint with this game, and this is for a lot of kind of trick-taking, ladder-climbing games, is it can be long. And these games are kind of made to be kind of a social hour type thing where you just kind of playing some cards, chit-chatting, having some snacks, that kind of thing. And I think this one, you have to play to a certain point value, and it feels like it drags a little bit if you're just there to play a game and not there to socialize. So, I mean, you can make adjustments to that. But Bacon, I think, is a wonderful, wonderful game. One of the most streamlined games of this genre that I've played. And I think this one, it also looks cool. It has such a fun theme. So, that's Bacon. All right, and I'm doing a first impression here of a game called Spellbook. This is from Phil Walker Harding, which is one of my favorite designers. I love whenever he releases a new game, I always wanted to check it out. I got this one for, I think it was a gift for my birthday. I do always like to talk about whether I got games as review copies or not. RiftForce I paid for years ago. I got that one. Bacon I paid for actually, and then Spellbook was a gift from somebody to me as a gift. And so Spellbook is a game in which you have these spell cards out, and you're going to upgrade these spell cards throughout the game, and those spell cards are going to give you better actions. You're taking these chips, almost Quacks-looking chips, Quacks of Quedlinburg chips, and you're going to take those, and you're like kind of drafting those. You're going to save them up and then turn them in to upgrade your spells, and then you can take better actions as the game goes on. I've played it once with the base game like set of spells, and then you can play with different ones or randomize it. I need to play it randomized, I think, or with a higher level of spells, because I found this game to be quite a bore. I did not think the spells were particularly interesting. I also felt the first half of the game was super slow, because as you're taking these chips, you only have the option of like, you can take one known chip from this board in the middle, or you can take like 2 from the bag or something like that. And there's a lot of colors of these chips. And so depending on what you take, there's like 6 colors, I think. Depending on what you pull, you're really not able to do a whole lot until like multiple turns into the game. And then once you do that, you deplete all of your chips, and then you're like, okay, I got to pull back up again. And it just felt like it was just kind of like, save, 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 do something cool. Save, 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 do something. It's just like, in a lot of games nowadays, you're like constantly doing something cool, right? So that was a bummer. I hope this one is better. It's gotten some good reviews, some really positive feedback online. So I'm hoping maybe it was just that initial game of mine. You never quite know with games sometimes if it was just that first experience or if it was something else. So that was Spellbook. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great first impression, but one I am willing to try out again. And this one, I did post some of my favorite games over on TikTok and Instagram. I don't know if I'll do a full video on YouTube. I might do one with May. We'll see. Well, I've been talking with her about it. She put together a list of her favorite games from last year. We just have to put it on film. But this was one of my favorite games from last year. This is the Fox Experiment. Now, I did get this one as a review copy from Pandasaurus. This is the retail edition, not the fancy Kickstarter edition. So I have like cardboard pieces. I have some wooden foxes, I think, but everything else is real kind of normal, but it still is a wonderful production. I don't feel like I got skimped out of the Kickstarter edition, if that makes sense. And this is by Elizabeth Hargrave and Jeff Frazier. And this is a dice rolling game. It has some roll and write elements, but it's not a roll and write game. You do roll dice, you do write on some cards, but it's not like a game where you have your own board or card or sheet that you're filling in. You're breeding foxes with the friendliest attributes. You want curly tails and floppy ears and nice barks and things like that. Just kind of like a dog, I guess. You're going to roll this fistful of dice of different traits. You're going to match those dice up together, and then you're going to put them out on cards, and you create fox offspring. And then those fox offspring go out to the drafting board, and you're going to draft new parents of foxes. You're going to breed those together. You're going to roll a fistful of dice and see what the new foxes are. And it is such a cool mashup of mechanics. It has the dice rolling and the action upgrading and the cards that you're creating during the game and putting back out there, and you're hoping that somebody doesn't take the great fox that you just created because you really want that fox. You name the foxes on the cards. It has this really cool start of the round where you're drafting a male fox and a female fox and turn order. And you can do those in any order. So I can take a male fox, and then person next to me takes the female fox, and then somebody there then takes a male fox, and then somebody takes the turn order, and then you're drafting 3 different things. You have to draft all 3 by the end of the round, but the value proposition there is it's so cool. I do worry about replayability with this one, but so far I really enjoy it. I know some folks are like, you do the same thing every game. I guess so, but I really enjoy that thing, so I'm cool with it. Fox Experiment, really wonderful game. Excellent in my eyes. There you go. So those are 4 games that I have enjoyed from January and probably December as well. But I'll come back next month and talk about some other games. All right? All right, I'm Jordan. Thanks.